Hey, welcome to our episode of Chad's Beer Podcast with Simon, Real Ale Craft Beer. What's going on, man?
Hello, everybody. How are we doing? How are we doing, Chad? Thank you very much for having me on. I've known you for many, many years, and well, it feels like chatting with an old friend live.
Yeah, I'm still drinking. I have one can left of Old Speckled Hen that we did last week for the Tuesday night beer school. What are
Okay.
you drinking?
I'm drinking 𝒉𝒂𝒅'𝒛 from Lidl. Do you have Lidl's in America?
Oh, that's like Aldi, right?
Yeah, the German supermarkets. Yeah.
We only have Aldi. I don't think we have Lidl, or at least not around here. How is it? Any good?
It's nice, yeah. It tastes like a blend of a few beers. I don't know why that would be.
I'm using this. I think it's like a 20-ounce glass my mom gave me for Christmas last year. I don't know if you can. It says it has the word Chad etched. Oh, you can't see it right now. Oh wait, maybe. Oh yeah, you can.
Yeah.
She should have got the whole Chad's beer reviews. It just says Chad's.
Well, it's just a personal thing between you and your mum. It's nice that.
Yeah.
Do you come and visit Florida often?
Yeah, they come down like once every couple years, and like I'll go up for like Christmas or like actually last year my girlfriend and I went up in August and it was nice. But anyway, we're not here to talk about me. We're here to talk about you. So, did you see last week I posted our two old podcasts, if you can call them podcasts, they're like 10, 15 minutes from like 2010.
Fantastic. How we look relatively the same now. I think maybe I'm a bit rounder. I don't know.
Well, I was gonna say, you still have your hair.
Well, I didn't want to. I didn't want to say that, but yeah. So how's your journey with beer been? Because you love beer, then you fell out with love with beer a little bit, and then you fell back in love with beer over the last few years. Tell us a little bit about that.
I should be asking you because you're the guest. You should start your own podcast where you talk to other beer tubers.
Well, no, this is very relevant. This is very relevant to where I want to go, where I want to take this conversation about myself and the love affair with beer. Because it's like anything, really, isn't it? When you first learn to ride a bicycle, it's the most exhilarating thing in the world, isn't it? But the longer you ride a bike, the more it becomes normal, and that's what I think I've hit now. I've lost that little bit of enthusiasm that I kind of once had. Does that make sense?
Oh, you mean for doing beer tube?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, let me show the audience. This is what I'm talking about. So this is our podcast from around Christmas of 2010.
Terrible. Oh my goodness. Look at the Christmas decorations up.
Oh yeah. And then we did it again. This is when you're in kitchen. Do you still have a website?
I've never ever had a website.
Okay. Yeah, look how I was probably about 30 or 40 pounds heavier there.
Yeah, probably, yeah.
I'm actually in better shape now than I was back then. In fact, I think I'm in better shape now than when I was in the military because I lost so much weight.
Yeah.
I work out like pretty much every day or every other day.
Fantastic.
Yeah. But you're living the dream because you actually are a full-time YouTuber now, right? You don't have like a day job anymore?
Ironically, I become full-time during the pandemic. The pandemic was the real driver in making me full-time. I was very much kind of just doing a part-time job stacking shelves in the supermarket in 2018, 2019. And then when 2019 hit, I did something called the Stone Crow Virtual Pub. And that was just out of anger because a well-known UK journalist said, there's only pubs, just shut the pubs. Who really cares about the pubs? And I absolutely, I lost my temper with that because of the jobs and the security that people see in the pub trade. And I just started a live stream out of pure rage,
Yeah.
and just took off. It just, that moment it took off. It really kind of like exploded into life.
Yeah. That's kind of the irony of COVID, is it like brought a lot of people together and drove a lot of people apart too.
Yes, yes, yeah. So that was the real driver with the channel. The channel like doubled in size during that COVID year.
Really? Wow.
Yeah,
I bet it
yeah.
was it all people in the UK mostly watching you?
Mainly people who couldn't leave their houses. There's a big pub culture here, so I started a virtual pub from home, and people. I was doing it twice a week. I was exhausted by the end of it, absolutely exhausted. But I did it for a year, twice a week for a year, plus all my other beer reviews, and I ended up really kind of like really tired by the time we got to the end of it all. But it was beneficial because I could see the growth. I had to keep pushing because I could see the growth of the channel.
Yeah. I just wanted to show, speaking of your channel, I wanted to show, in case somebody's not familiar, I don't know how that's possible. So it says you have 74.1 thousand subs right now, and you're at 9.9 thousand videos. You're coming up on 10,000 videos. And I have your videos sorted by oldest. And like for years and years there, you were just doing it in your kitchen. And now you built, like where you are now, you have this pub in your backyard. It's like a pool house, except it's like a little mini pub.
Yes.
You built that from scratch?
Built it from scratch. Glass roof. I'll show you the glass roof on the top there. Put a glass roof on, so you got the sunshine. The kitchen units you can see behind you are the actual kitchen units from the old kitchen. I took the veneer off and painted them white. And then I built this bar. I've got some old pumps from around places, and I had 2 hand pulls as well, but I took them down because I wanted to put the record player there. Two beer pumps here. Yeah, this is it. This is where I do my work on a daily basis now.
Do you have any actual casks, or it's just the pump, the hand levers or whatever?
So you know the 5-liter mini kegs.
There's
a way. So if you decompress them, if you get all the gas out of them, you can then get a screwdriver in the top, and you can lift off that plastic tap, and then you can just feed a 10mm tube into it from the, and then you can just pull the beer through on a keg, on a cask, on the beer engine, as you guys call it in America.
Yeah. Well, actually, I haven't seen cask ale around here in years. I've never seen a cask since I moved to Florida, and that was in 2015. So that was like 9 years ago.
Yeah.
The only time I ever saw cask beer was when I lived in Albany, New York. There was a bar there called Mahar's, and they had six beers on cask, like at all time. They were mostly like local beer. Like they would get them from like local New York breweries, but every once in a while they would get actual casks from the UK. In fact, I remember having Old Speckled Hen on cask. I think I had like Fuller's ESB on cask, or it might have been London Pride or Wells Bombardier, one of those big name beers.
Fantastic, isn't it, on cask? Fantastic.
If I remember, and it's funny. I think I was talking with Tom, the Crummy Beard, about this. I think we talked about it on my podcast with him, so check that out if you haven't seen it. But he was talking about, like, the reason like Guinness and Old Speckled Hen, a lot of those English and Irish beers are on nitro, is because like it basically recreates or kind of emulates the cask beer experience more on nitro. Like, how you pour it and it's all cloudy and then eventually clears up like this.
Yeah.
And it leaves, I mean, that's how like cask beer is when you pour it. Like if you see cask beer poured off the pump, it's like super cloudy, and then like you just give it a minute to settle, it'll clear up like this. And I think that's what nitro was meant to emulate. Am I wrong?
Yeah. How was the cask tasting in Mahar's compared to the cans and the kegs?
Well, you have to. Well, yeah, I wish I had a time machine because, I mean, I haven't had cask beer in probably almost 10 years. Just nobody around here does it.
Yeah.
I just remember it being like definitely like the texture kind of similar to a nitro, like very creamy, very low carbonated. It's a different experience than probably like what you're drinking, where it's like, effervescent and crisp. And like,
Yes, yes,
know,
very, very, very much so. And they're open casks as well in the pubs. They're literally open to the elements for 3 days before they have to be thrown out. And it really does depend on, they really have to sell it very quickly because it's a live product. And this is what we're finding in the UK now. Only 9% of the total beer sales now in the pub are cask led, which is a real shame. It's falling out of the sky. Everybody's drinking keg beer, and I understand keg. I understand the beauty of keg, the fact that you can keep it fresh. It's a pressurized product, but there's a certain beauty about cask beer that I think we're going to lose it, unfortunately, unless it becomes a specialized thing.
I mean, you can make the case for the advancement in technology is like, the technology advances. Like, we don't have to hold on to like old ways just because they're old or traditional, Like, I mean, the thing about cask beer is like that's probably how beer was drank for like centuries before the invention of forced carbonation.
Yes.
I think that was like what, early 20th century, mid 20th century.
I believe so. Yeah, and it was probably, was keg beer invented in America? I'm not too sure. I don't know where it originated from.
I can find out. I'm pretty sure it was.
I imagine.
I'll ask ChatGPT. Where and when was keg beer invented?
Yeah, let's find out.
I don't know. Do you ever use ChatGPT?
No, I haven't. Is it good?
Yeah, it's good for it's kind of like a nice Google substitute. So instead of like, because like if you Google something, it'll just give you like a whole bunch of websites. But with ChatGPT, it'll
give you an answer.
Yeah, it says so. It's developed mid 20th century. Emerged in the 1950s.
United States, look.
Is attributed to breweries in the United States and Europe.
Oh, there we go.
You always have to like take the. It says
1950s revolution in a way. Yeah, so maybe America. It seems that way, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's funny. Going back to your channel, you used to be called the Real Ale Guide, but now you're Real Ale Craft Beer, but your handle is still Real Ale Guide. Like you're at.
Yes, you can't change it, can you? I don't think.
I was gonna say you might want to, because somebody could steal if they haven't already. In fact, let's see. Like somebody could just steal Real Ale Craft Beer. Let me see if anything comes up.
Have a look.
All right, so this dude has it. Beers of the World.
How many? But no
content.
ADHD. That's interesting enough. I'm quite happy with Real Ale Guide. I'm quite happy with that. The reason why I chose to change was when I first got into beer in the very first place, I never really understood craft beer. I didn't really know what it was. I knew what real ale was, but I never really knew what craft beer was. It took like another year or two before I really got into drinking craft beer. So I realized then that I needed to change the channel to Real Ale Craft Beer, because if you have a look at it, it's quite clever. If you take 3 of the words out and just leave beer, it's beer. You can take 3 words out.
Ale, craft beer.
Ale, real ale, craft beer. There's so many different ways you can change the name around. That's why I chose it.
Well, you need the word lager in there somewhere too.
I know. I've released a keg this week that had 80,000 views on a 5-liter mini keg. Have you seen that video?
Let me see. A video you just posted?
Last week, yeah. The day after we did the tasting. There it is there on the bottom.
Oh, okay. Absolute liter. It's a fest beer.
Yeah, from Lidl again.
Is that this year's? Man, it's like, I mean, it's still the middle of the summer. Oktoberfest is a long ways away.
But I reviewed that like the day after we filmed the tasting.
Where do you think do you ever look at your analytics and like see like where your traffic's coming from?
Every day, every single day I look at my analytics. generally, I have a look to see what's popular.
Mhm.
Lager these days is massively popular on my channel. Lager will dominate. Lager will dominate the battles. Have you ever thought of doing like Miller in America now? Where you at Miller versus Bird versus?
Yeah, I just did that actually. Good question. You didn't see, because we did let me bring up my channel here. So you know how I do Tuesday night beer school?
Yeah,
A few months ago, about a week or 4 weeks ago, about a month ago, Christine and I did the American lager style for Tuesday night beer school, which is 1B,
yeah.
and we did a blind taste test. So here's me. It says beer expert can't tell Bud, Miller, and Coors apart, and I was able to get it down into a short, and that's about a little less than 2,000 views.
Brilliant,
Yeah.
fantastic.
Do you want to know if I got it right or not, or you want to watch the video?
I will. I will watch the video.
Okay, it's only 54 seconds, so.
You know the point. The point though is you can do some. I mean, you must have some lager breweries there in Florida, right?
Well, not like lager exclusive, but a lot of breweries do make lager.
Yeah, yeah. So what's the beer in Florida? What's the local? Is it like Miller or is it? But where's the closest to Florida where it's produced? From the
Like
the big macros.
Okay, yeah. Well, there's like two big. Actually, there's a couple like big. I mean, obviously, you're probably familiar with Cigar City, or you've heard of Cigar City.
Yes, yes.
They're in Tampa, and then there's Funky Buddha, which is down in Miami. Those are like the two big ones. And then, so I don't know if you're familiar with this. I'll tell this story. I think I told it on the last podcast. So, you're familiar with Cigar City. You're familiar with Oscar Blues in Colorado.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, a few years ago, they merged and they called it Canarchy because
Really?
all their beers are in cans.
Right.
And then they sold Canarchy to Monster Beverage, Monster Energy
Yeah,
drink.
yeah.
So Monster actually owns Cigar City and Oscar Blues now,
Really?
and they opened another brewery in Asheville, North Carolina.
Yeah.
And so, like, now all Cigar City beers and Oscar Blue beer, or at least for the East Coast, are made in Asheville, North Carolina instead of in Tampa. And they're changing the Tampa brewery and tap room into a Monster, like, because now they're making like hard lemonade, hard seltzer, all that hard
Oh,
stuff,
yeah, yeah.
those FMBs. And they fired Wayne Wombles, who was the brewmaster for Cigar City.
Wow.
Yeah, it's kind of sad. I mean, I don't know. I've been listening to a lot of podcasts about this. Like, I don't know if you like follow any beer podcasts or read beer magazines or websites or anything. It's kind of like you guys are losing cask beer in the UK, and we're kind of losing like legit craft beer in United States because all that shelf space is now being taken up by hard seltzers, hard sodas, hard lemonades, hard iced teas, like Twisted Tea. Speaking of which, did you know Twisted Tea is made by Sam Adams?
No, no. I
Yeah.
never,
So Sam
never.
Adams, who was like basically, started the whole American craft beer revolution like in the 80s with Sam
Yeah.
Adams Boston Lager. And then like, I don't know, 10, 15 years ago, they came out with Twisted Tea, which is just iced tea, but it's hard. It's like the equivalent of like hard cider.
Right.
And it
Okay.
just took off. And like, so I mean, like Sam Adams was actually like a brand within the company because the company is called Boston Beer Company.
Yeah, yeah.
So then they started making Twisted Tea. They started making Angry Orchard hard cider.
Right.
And
Yeah.
they bought a few other little craft brands here and there.
Yeah.
And now like Twisted Tea, I believe accounts for like I think it's somewhere between like 2/3 and 3/4 of their entire portfolio is
Wow.
Twisted Tea.
My
And like
goodness.
all Sam Adams beers put together, I think account for like 10% of their
No.
sales. Yeah.
Wow. It had salsa. They tried to launch it in the UK, but it fell flat on its face. I don't know. I find it awful. I tried to review it. Is it White Claw?
Yeah.
Oh
That's
my god.
that's like one of the big brands.
What's this? I really didn't like it. I made a video and I like, what is this stuff?
I know hard seltzer is like the cheapest like cheapest cop out of like it's like basically like legal moonshine. Because you know how they make it? They just take water, throw sugar in there and yeast, and the yeast ferments the sugar. So you just have like hard water, and then they squirt the flavoring extracts into it, and now you've got hard cider or
So
not
this
or
hard
hard
tea,
seltzer.
is it alcoholic, this hard tea?
Yeah, I mean it's like 5% ABV. It's not super strong,
So if they
but
actually now, like, if they put Boston Lager, is it just not that important to them anymore?
exactly. In fact, they're actually Sam Adams is actually thinking about selling off the Sam Adams brand to
Wow.
I think it was either Asahi or Sapporo, one of the Japanese. Did you
Which,
know
hey,
Anchor Brewing closed?
that is very, very sad. Very, very, very sad news. Now, Asahi have made some big moves in the UK market. Have they made some big moves in America?
Yeah, because I think it was I can't remember if it was them or Sapporo that bought Anchor Brewing, and then I think it was Sapporo.
It was, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Sapporo also owns Unibrew in Canada,
Yeah.
which
And
makes all those. They make a lot of great Belgian beers or Belgian style beers, like Le Findemont. That's one of my all-time favorite beers.
yeah.
Yeah, they bought Anchor Brewing and they ran it into the ground.
It's terrible. What about that company, the oldest American craft brewery? It's got
Oh,
a
Yingling?
Yingling. Yeah, it's a really
Yeah.
strange name. How are they doing?
They're doing pretty well. I think like they're actually like they're actually technically the number one craft brewer in America. Because they're still like under that threshold and like they're owned by themselves. They're not affiliated with any other companies, you know?
Yeah.
So like Sam Adams lost their craft beer status, although like so many of the great craft beers from like 10 years ago, like aren't really if you go by it just depends by what definition you go by. But let's just say we're going by the Brewers Association definition,
Yeah.
which define, you know, like they're like the lobby for craft beer at the federal level. So I forget like the exact definition off the top of my head, but it was just like basically a brewery had to be like independent. They couldn't be owned by another brewery. But like, you know, like one of my all-time favorite breweries, Southern Tier, they merged with Victory. So I
Yeah.
mean, it's like I don't know if that cancels out. Like if you have two craft breweries and they merge and they become one
Big.
small macro brewery, you know, is that
My biggest one is Stone. Stone.
yeah, they sold out to Sapporo, I think,
Yeah,
or
but
Asahi,
it
one of
was
those.
fantastic, and it's just not the same anymore. Do you review much Stone over there now, or is it just not the same?
We can only get like two Stone beers. You can get Stone IPA and Arrogant Bastard. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, and how is the Stone IPA tasting?
I mean, I haven't had it in a long time, but I mean, if it's just sitting on the shelf at room temperature, I'm sure it's not that good.
Yeah. No, I mean, since Sapporo bought them, have they changed the recipe, or have they? Because I've tasted some of the Stone beers, and it doesn't taste. They had the wow factor, didn't they? Stone Brewing Company,
Yeah.
2010, 2012.
Yeah, they were cutting edge.
They were cutting edge, but kind of they opened a Berlin brewery, and it all seemed to go really, really bad when they opened up that brewery.
Yeah. There was a documentary about that. Did you see it?
I haven't. No, but he upset a lot of German people, didn't he, Greg?
If you have an Amazon Prime membership,
Yes, I do.
there's I can look it up here. Let's see. I think it's
Yeah.
called Beer Jesus or something.
yeah. Yeah.
I just did a search for Beer Jesus, and there's I love Jesus and beer. All these. Here you go. I pound beers for Jesus. I was thinking. Wow. I mean, if you go on Amazon, just type beer Jesus. A lot of stuff comes up.
You know
I
what?
was looking for the documentary. Where is that?
Would you like to know a real funny story about Amazon Prime and myself?
Sure.
You know, back in the day, I was always trying to be cutting edge. I was always trying to be the one ahead. And Amazon were experimenting with letting regular people upload video like a YouTube thing to Amazon Prime. And the BBC in the UK, they put the wrong story out and they put the wrong link. They put an internal link for like mega corporations out to the public. So I got this link and I opened up Real Ale Craft Beer on Amazon Prime and I started to upload to Amazon Prime. and they were actually my videos were monetized by the adverts. I had to do all sorts of like American, what's the tax thing out there, like American paperwork and stuff to like the Department of something or other, and I had to sign lots of different things to prove what kind of company I was to upload to Amazon. But they eventually found me and they said, how have you managed to upload your beer reviews to Amazon? And we're really sorry, but we're going to have to shut you down.
By the way, I found that here's the this is like the website for that movie. It's funny because like the whole the documentary is all about Greg Cook and building this, or like, well, they didn't really build it. They just acquired this old building and they just built a brewery in it. So it's like 90 minutes of like that. And then the movie just ends like on a black screen. It just says after, I don't know, 6 or 9 months in production, Stone closed the brewery.
Do you know what he did though? Do you know why he upset the Germans?
They don't like IPAs, probably.
No. So the story goes, he invited a load of German newspaper, beer people, press people to the brewery. And he went out with a forklift truck with piled high full of crates of German beer. And he tipped the forks forward and he smashed it all on the floor. Said, there's no need to drink German beer now. You have Stone Brewing Company. And apparently 75% of the journalists turned around and walked away and they left at that moment. And they gave him a scathing reports in the local German newspapers. And so he basically kind of like ruined it himself.
I'm trying to find, I just Googled that.
Are you trying to find it?
You would think there'd be pictures of it or something. This is the only thing I can see.
This is the story. This is what I was told. I was in Poland and they said, no, you made a big mistake. You know, they've been brewing beer in Germany for like 1,000 years. So it was not going to go down too well, was it? American beer smashes up local German breweries' beers.
I mean, I salute them for like taking a chance, trying to get, like American style beer to catch on in, especially in Germany. Cause I mean, like they except for like, I think it's funny. Speaking of German beer, I actually have 𝑩𝒆𝒄𝒂𝒔𝒕 Hefeweizen right here. I haven't had this in a long time.
Beautiful.
I'm probably going to review this tonight or tomorrow.
Here's a quick off the cuff question for you without you looking at your book. In your beer course you did, what number is 𝒆𝒄𝒂𝒔𝒕 Hefeweizen? Is it like G1 or
𝑪𝒉𝒂𝒅'𝒛? I believe it's a 10A. You're talking about the BJCP specs?
Yeah.
But I actually had it open, right? Yeah, it's 10A because 11 is British bitter.
Oh, yep. You know your stuff then.
Sorry, this isn't gonna. I don't know if you can see. Yeah, 10A 𝑪𝒉𝒂𝒂𝒔𝒕.
Weizenbier. So, what other things would you like to ask me? What about the channel, or are we just having a general chat? How is this podcast going?
Maybe we should have done it. We should have done it live so people could ask questions in real time. I used to do a podcast like that a few years ago, like when COVID first hit.
Yeah.
On my other channel, and the problem is like you have to set up like the parameters right, or else like bots get in and they leave like horrible messages and stuff. It's pretty nasty. Yeah. Getting back to your channel. So what happened with this? It says threatened with prison.
Oh, like, I'm very. I can talk a little bit about it because time has now passed. It's actually 18 months to the day. So have you seen some of the videos on my YouTube channel
since then, or
have you seen
10,000 videos?
Have you watched that particular video?
A while ago.
A while ago. So I think we maybe give it another 6 months, and I'll give you the exclusive on this. Give it 2 years, because I don't want a man with a funny wig on, banging his wooden stick at me. In these time needs to pass on this. So
Well, I
I'll
mean,
tell you off it. I'll tell you. I'll tell you.
did you have a lawyer? I would think the lawyer would tell you to take that video down.
It's very, very tough at the moment with the current situation. If
Mhm.
the person I'm dealing with knows every single tiny
Mhm.
aspect of my life, and she'll probably find this video and watch it. So I'm very, but very. I mean, I'll say it in a positive way. Is that everything seems okay at this present moment.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah, I mean, you're in your house right now, so that's
yeah,
pretty good.
I'm not.
Yeah.
Let me out.
Yeah, I mean, just, for those aren't familiar, like, how's the story go? Like, you were cleaning up trash on the street, and they thought you were the one that polluted it? Is that basically
um, do you know, it's a very interesting thing. I think I'll tell you exactly what happened off air, because
Okay.
I grossly underestimated. Like, I got my sums wrong with the measurements and the weights of everything.
Uh-huh.
And it turns out that you if you have a look on Google Maps, you sent me beer in the past, so you have my address. Put
Well, I
my
don't
house.
have it anymore, but
But we'll talk off there. You'll be able to have a look at it, and
yeah.
you'll see exactly well, you'll be able to see Google's look at
Your
yeah.
town?
So it's tough. It's very tough for me to say anything on it. But I'm very happy to talk to you off air regarding it.
You're in, Barrie, right? Or, is it Barrie or,
Yeah,
Cardiff?
Barry.
Barrie? Okay.
Barry.
Hang on a sec. Alright, so for those aren't familiar, I'm just gonna zoom in here. I don't know if you ever use, Google Earth? So this
Yeah.
will show you it's gonna zoom out from I don't know why it was on Oregon. Now it's
Well,
zooming into Barrie.
see that dock there? See the dock? That was once the second deepest dock in the world.
Huh.
They're currently they're calling that the mole. That piece of
Mhm.
where you just zoomed into, where your mouse cursor is there, lower down. That piece
Yeah.
of it jetting out into the sea, into the dock there. They're going to turn that into a multi-million-pound marina.
Hmm. Who
And
can afford all this?
I live kind of like a couple of miles away from it.
Okay. Oh, yeah, I've seen, this, so Cardiff Airport?
Is in more or less in Barrie, yeah.
Yeah, you're pretty close to there. I see a lot of farms around here. This all
Yes,
farmland?
yes, absolutely. I'm on the other side. I'm closer to Cardiff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Probably down here somewhere, but what do they grow here?
A lot of rapeseed. Have you heard of rapeseed?
What is it?
They make oil, rapeseed oil.
Oh, grapeseed, okay. Yeah, I've heard,
RAPE.
yeah, like grape, like you make wine out of?
Yeah, but they make like oils, like cooking oils.
By the way, I'll zoom way out so people can see. Alright, so here's the when it's Scotland, England, and Wales,
Wales. Yeah, we're our own.
this is Britain, right?
Yeah, yeah,
And then when you add Northern Ireland, that's the UK, right?
yeah.
And then
So,
England is its own country, and then Scotland is its own country, and Wales is its own country.
few hundred years ago, there's our border there with England. Can you
Mhm.
see it? There, that
Yeah,
little squiggly line.
right here?
The English pushed us right up into this top corner up here. Where your mouse up into the corner.
Left or right?
High. There, yeah. The way you are right there. They pushed us right up into that corner, and we pushed right the way back, and we went to the outside of London. We used to fight like crazy, and then so the border was just outside of London,
Mhm.
and then they
Here
pushed it back, and we,
Mhm.
fighting.
Yeah. It looks very green. Well, I mean, everything looks green from this.
It's very mountainous. It's very, very mountainous. If you could zoom right in,
I gotta come visit there someday.
you should. You should. We have beautiful water. If you zoom in on Wales,
Mhm.
I know we don't want to take too much people. See the mountain where you are now with the cursor.
Yeah.
So that all that is like filtered water that runs off the mountains, and then if you go south again, you could see you've got Cardiff and Barry. So our water quality from the mountains is absolutely fantastic. It's really, really good water.
Well, you know what I was going to say about Cardiff is you can fly from the airport right down the road from me in Sanford to Cardiff nonstop on TUI airline.
Yeah.
They fly Sanford to Cardiff, I think.
And that's your airport, is it?
Yeah, I could walk there from here.
It'd be amazing. That would be fantastic. Yeah. So yeah, that's the. I mean, I've nearly drunk this whole bottle, by the way.
How strong is that beer?
It's about. It says 7.2, but it's about
7.2.
About 8%, because I did a bit of blending with this.
Oh, okay.
About 8% ABV. So I've done a lot of brewing, Chad. I think we spoke about it last week briefly. Maybe you can kind of edit some of this together, because I showed off the beers at the top last week, didn't I?
Oh yeah, I'll put it at the end as bonus material.
Yeah. So I've actually brewed with a number of companies now, a number of breweries around Europe and even one in America, but it was done over video call, which is fantastic. Is there any kind of brewing? Is there a way of you collaborating with breweries in America?
You know, it's funny. I think it's just a difference in culture. Like, unless like because I mean, I asked you about this, and I asked Paul and Melissa, or not Melissa, sorry, Michelle from Rate My Beer, because you guys did that pineapple Weizenbach.
Yeah,
and I was just like, man, how does that work? Because like, you know, I've asked like little breweries around here if they'd be interested in like doing stuff like that, and they're just like, no, you're just some YouTuber with a couple thousand followers. Why would we want to do a beer with you? You know,
it's sad, really, because I mean,
yeah. I remember like when you were first coming up, like you were in like the newspaper or on TV like all the time.
I used to push so much harder. I wish I had that early enthusiasm. If I had that enthusiasm that I had now, if I had that enthusiasm back then that I have, like, brought it to now, it would be such a big thing now, I think. But I just can't, like, I can't seem to push anymore. I can't seem to. Is that that happened to you, right? You hit a point where you were like, no, this is just the same. This is the same thing. We're putting pineapple, we're putting grapefruit, the malt is, you know, and I think you recreated yourself by doing this qualification, didn't you? This BG.
Oh yeah,
BJ.
You should, yeah. If you want, you could do the show with me, because my girlfriend Christina, she was I was basically like the teacher, and she was like the student. But you know, she doesn't. Yeah, even though she's smiling and she's having fun on video, whenever we're done, she's just like, man, she's like, she doesn't really like to do it anymore. So I actually kind of shelved that show. But then, you know, you and I last week did Old Speckled Hen, which I think we might have done it to the wrong guidelines. I think this might be better as a best bidder instead of a strong bidder. But anyway, yeah, if you want, me and you could keep doing the show. It's hard to schedule. I mean, we could do it at the same time every week if you want.
The problem is for me is time. The biggest problem for me is time, and as I mentioned to you off air, is my alcohol consumption as well. That's the biggest thing for me, is the alcohol. I'm trying my best to cut down. I'm not saying I have a problem, but
yeah, I saw on your channel you have a video on there. It says update on my health.
I had a big binge Christmas, and yeah, my body. You know, we're not kids anymore, are we? We're not like in our 20s anymore. Yeah. So
yeah. We were saying before we started, like, I definitely drink a lot less than I used to, or I definitely drink a lot less beer than I used to, because I used to drink like 2 beers a day. Yeah. And now I just drink like 1 beer a day, and like maybe I'll have like a shot of whiskey.
Yeah.
Okay. Or bourbon. Because I started a new show called Whiskey Wednesday, where I take like 2 whiskeys of like this, like 2 bourbons or 2 scotches or 2, you know, Canadian, whatever, as long as like they're the same general style. Just kind of like, I'm not rating them, because I don't feel confident as a whiskey judge.
Yeah.
But it's just kind of like me like trying to like try their stuff here. And like, I mean, you can see my bookshelf. I have like whiskey and spirits for dummies, wine for dummies. I need to get like cider and mead, you know, because this
Yeah.
is like I'm trying to expand out and like, you know, I just posted a video. Let me show you. Like me and Christina are trying to like just keep like experimenting with new stuff. So we did a new series called Will It Blend? Because we did Old Speckled Hen and Stella Artois cider,
Right.
you know,
There was
and
a
then
guy called Will It Blend. He used to mash up iPhones and stuff, didn't he? In his
who?
blender. Did you ever watch that?
Oh yeah. But we're just like blending two drinks together, you know,
Yeah. Right.
and
Okay.
like so like I'm doing like whiskey Wednesday, teetotaler Thursday, where I drink or and review a non-alcoholic beer.
Right. Okay.
Cider Saturday, and then like Will It Blend? And I'd like to eventually start doing mead Monday, you know, because I want to get certified. I would like to eventually get cider judge certified and mead judge certified. That's something I wanted to ask you about. I think I asked Tom and Paul and Michelle about this. So like non-alcoholic beer is like blowing up in America. Like up until a few years ago, it was just like basically like one shelf at the
Yeah.
beer store, and now it has like its own section, like basically like the size of this bookshelf,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
like
Yeah.
all like, you know, 20 or 30 different non-alcoholic beers. And it's funny because like at Total Wine, like so like imagine like about 30 of these bookshelves which used to be like just all beer is now all hard cider, or not hard cider, hard seltzer.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like at the
Yeah.
big, you know, major beer store, it's basically like one shelf of hard cider, one shelf of non-alcoholic beer, and then like about 30 shelves of hard seltzer, and probably about 20 or 30 shelves of beer.
That's the one. The beer. I can't do non-alcoholic beer. I don't see. I'd rather make a cup of tea or a cup of coffee or drink a can of Coke. I don't
Yeah.
understand the need to drink some hoppy, malty thing with no. I don't understand it. Do you like it?
I've done a few of these reviews. I will say I had the Guinness Zero. They call it most of these beers are not truly non-alcoholic. They're usually 0.5 ABV.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I thought the Guinness non-alcoholic tasted exactly like regular Guinness. I couldn't tell a difference. And Corona and Tsingtao or Jingdao, or however you count it,
Yeah. Yeah.
they basically, I don't know what they did. We have to ask a pro brewer about this, but they've been able to emulate the flavor of alcoholic beer in non-alcoholic form. I mean, if they can do that, I want to see what if they can do that with like Bourbon County Stout. You know, it's something that would be like
No,
14% ABV. If they can bring it
it'll,
down to 0.5, I want to see
it'll
that.
never happen. It'll never. You'll lose the body. You know why Guinness worked as a non-alcoholic beer is because there's so much glucose syrup and sugars and stuff in it anyway that it was really not that difficult to change it up.
Mhm.
It's basically just tasting the glucose that they put in the, and they made it in zero alcohol. Do you know the worst thing about it? I drank 2 cans of it, and it gave me the worst headache ever. This
Which one?
non-alcoholic Guinness.
Okay, I only had one. I thought it was pretty good.
Drink 2 or 3, you'll wake up in the morning with an awful headache. Awful.
Yeah, you think it's just from the sugar?
All the glucose, all the sugar, and I have a, and I blame this on beer if you like. I eat a lot of savoury snacks, a lot of biscuits, a lot of crisps. I drink a lot of bitter beers. If I have something too sweet, so if my daughter gave me a Haribo with, you know, like a sugar-coated Haribo, it would burn my mouth. I'm very kind of intolerant to sugar.
Hmm,
I really don't like sugar. That, you
that's
know,
interesting. I've
so,
heard
so
of
I taste it.
maybe it's like
The Guinness.
yeah, I've heard of like people developing like, you know, gluten allergies later in life. And I've heard
Yeah.
it's like it's not actually you're not actually allergic to gluten, you're actually allergic to like the pesticides they use or something. Um Yeah, and although I will say what's nice about those non-alcoholic beers is that they're only like about 60 calories.
Yeah.
This is probably like 150 or 200, and if you can drink like non-alcoholic, like that's one of the appeals or one of the selling points of non-alcoholic beer is like way, way, way less calories. In fact, it has less calories than soda. So if you're gonna drink a Coke or a Pepsi with all the sugar in it, like a Coke or a Pepsi, this size can would be like 300 calories maybe. But if you can get the same size can in Guinness 0.0 for like 60 calories, you know, you just that would be a session beer.
Now, maybe it's the beer kicking in. I'm drinking this 8% beer, and I've nearly finished off the bottle in 45 minutes. But I'm going to throw a question out there, Chad. It's a pub question. It's probably a question that's asked up and down the land in America. Trump or Biden?
Who do I like?
Do you talk politics channel or no? You allowed?
Not really.
Mind you, that's the problem.
Well, I know who I'm not voting for. By the way, I just wanted to show you. Yeah, ask me about that off air because unless it's directly related to beer, I try not to like talk because like I don't want to like turn people off, you know.
Well, he's a teetotaler, isn't he, Trump? He's a teetotaler. He don't drink.
Yeah, he doesn't drink alcohol, and he only eats like fast food. You know what that is? It's so nobody can poison him. So you just roll up at McDonald's and you order like whatever's sitting on the shelf, you know?
This is the dog.
So I wanted to show you this guy you should do a collab with. I don't know if you're on TikTok. Actually, yeah, you're on TikTok, but obviously your channel like tiny there compared to YouTube.
Yeah, I never. It's gonna go away soon. They're gonna ban it in America, isn't they? TikTok is on its way.
They say they are, but I really don't think that they are. They're just gonna make it so that TikTok has to be owned by like an American company, and I don't think anything's gonna change really. Yeah. But anyway, I wanted to show you your equivalent on TikTok. He's actually been on my show. This is Mike versus Beer. So he has 171,000 followers.
Really?
Yeah, he was on this show a few months ago. In fact, he did a Tuesday Night Beer School with me. Yeah, so some of his videos are getting like in the millions of views. He mostly does like blind tastings. Well, not mostly, but a lot of times, like people send him beer wrapped in foil, and then he just reviews it, and then after he, judges it, then he opens the foil or whatever to see what he was drinking.
So what? How long are his videos on there? Like 2 minutes or?
Yeah, some of them are, and some of them are like under a minute. Here, I'll pick one. And he cross posts them all to Instagram too, and he has like about 40,000 followers on Instagram. See here, he's talking about Twisted Tea versus Happy Twisted. That's the one I was telling you about before. That's the one that Sam Adams makes. Yeah, so this video is only 2 minutes long, and he got I don't know. What was the view count on that? All right, that's 25,000 views.
Wow.
This one has 2.9 million. This is where he did a blind taste test. It was actually Miller Lite, I believe.
Oh God.
Yeah, it was about 2 minutes.
Did he like it?
He thought he was drinking a cider, and it turns out he was drinking Miller Lite the whole time.
Oh, blimey.
Yeah, you guys should, if you collab, it would be the two biggest beer influencers on the planet. Although actually, what's that that Polish guy?
Ǩapira's the biggest. Tomek Ǩapira. He has like
this dude, yeah.
Look at this guy. He's my
163, yeah.
He's a good friend of mine. He goes on television. You know, he blew up. He did.
He only does his videos in Polish, though.
Yeah. But do you know what blew it up? He went on the brain. Have you got this? The brain or the mind or something? And he did a blind taste testing of a load of beers. He was obviously told what beers they were before.
Mm-hmm.
They shot like the styles, and he just had to guess the styles. But we could all do that, couldn't we? If you got like the classic game show things where they put a blindfold on you and they wind the music up, and then they go boom, go, and he goes, porter or saison, but he knew like 8. He was given 8 beers to try. He knew they gave him the 8 styles, but he had to put them in order. I reckon if you put a bandage on me and you said stout, bitter, lager, saison,
Right.
I think a lot of us could not pick a particular beer, but we could definitely pick out the style. Yeah.
Well, that's if you want to become advanced cicerone or master cicerone, that's what they
Yeah.
have to do. Like, I don't know if you watched Darwin, who he kind of took over for Chris Stelz Beer Geek Nation when he quit.
Well, I don't.
Darwin is he's an advanced cicerone, and like to pass that test, you have to do that where they give you, I think it's about probably about 6 or 8 beers. They don't tell you what style it is, and you have to analyze it and like properly put it under the style. It's kind of like, like judging a homebrew competition, except you don't know what the style is.
Why? What's his following, Darwin? I like Darwin. He's a good guy.
He has 11.2 thousand subs.
Why? I can't understand with the population of America. Why don't you guys get behind a beer review, beer tuber, and like I mean, if Chris Stelz carried on, I think he would have been like 150,000 by now. I think
he would be the U. He'd be the U of America.
Yeah, but why didn't that? Why isn't there? Why did people turn off from BeerTube? You must be able to put your finger on
That's
this.
a good question. We'll have to let the people answer that. I went on Beer Advocate and Rate Beer like a year or two ago, and read it, and I basically asked the same question, and people just said, Americans just don't have the patience to sit and watch, a 10-minute video, and I think it's also because beer in America is like so like hyper localized now.
Yeah.
Where, like, because like if you're in England, Wales, like the whole UK, it's like technically it's kind of tiny compared to all of the United States, which is 50 states compared to like 4 or 5 countries.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I mean, like in the UK, like even if like, so if you did a beer review of something, anything, and somebody in like, let's say like Sheffield, like maybe they can't get it, but they've heard of the beer, or they
Yeah.
can get it, so they're more likely to watch you because they want to see if your opinion matches up with theirs. But like in America, you have 50 different states. The beers we make in Florida, they can't get like maybe, I mean, certainly not like in Alaska, but maybe like not even like in New York. Like because I moved from New York to Florida, which is kind of like the equivalent of like moving from Wales to, I don't know, Ukraine, probably about that far.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like all these beers that are in Florida, you can't get in New York, and vice versa, except for like the big major craft stuff. And like I think it's just the difference between American drinkers too, is that like you've heard, I bet you've heard of Treehouse and Hill Farmstead, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I have. Yeah.
Now these are actually like tiny breweries, but somehow everybody in America, and like probably like a lot of the hardcore beer nerds, like you've heard like there's like, why would you have heard of this tiny little brewery in a tiny town in the middle of nowhere in Vermont or in Massachusetts?
Stardust Brewery. Some breweries, they just blow up. I mean, I've had the Julius. I've had the double. Is it King Julius or something?
Yeah, I think so.
The double one, I've had that. It was really, really good. We have these breweries in the UK as well. We have a brewery called Vault City. Have you heard of Vault City?
No.
They just like started from, and they just like made it like they overhype to begin with. They hype, and then they launch, and then they go to beer festivals. The beer's selling out by 1 o'clock in the afternoon, an hour in. But I reckon they're just bringing 1 or 2 kegs with them, and it's to build up the hype. They're like sold out, putting a big sign above sold out, so it creates that kind of, I wonder what that's like because it sold out so quickly. And I think it's just like this. Have you heard of Verdant Brewery in the UK?
Yeah, I think
Cloudwater.
I know I've reviewed a Verdant beer, but I think it was an American brewery by the same name. I can look it up.
Yeah, or Cloudwater. You must have heard of Cloudwater.
Doesn't that mean green?
𝒉𝒂𝒂💛. It's like down in Cornwall way, down below me where I live in the UK, south.
Hang on, let me show you my screen.
It's like northern France. There it is, 𝒉𝒂💛. Yeah, 𝒉𝒂💛. They're like the number one. They're the number one brewing company. Oh yeah, you got one in.
No, I've never had any of their beers.
Oh, last time, yeah. They're like the number one brewery in the UK.
So, but they're like a small craft brewery. They're not huge like Fuller's.
They did a lot of breweries about 4 years ago. They started doing these big crowdfunders, didn't they? Mm-hmm. And they did a crowdfund, and they like doubled the size of their brewery with this crowdfund. Does that happen in America?
If it does, it's got to be like very local. Because like you would probably only hear about it in like the same state as the brewery.
Yeah.
By the way, I don't know if you know, but Treehouse has their own YouTube channel, and they post like almost every day, and they get like tons of views. This guy, I think he's like the head brewer there, or the brewmaster. I think his name's Nathan, and like they did a video tribute to Greg from Greg's Beer Reviews when he died a few weeks ago. Oh, you got a cat behind you.
Oh yeah, we got this. He's like wild. This one. Watch, he goes up on the units.
Wow.
He's gone now. So he jumps down in my beer reviews, and he like jumps into the beer. It's like,
what's his name?
Ollie.
Ollie.
But he doesn't know his name yet. We've only had him 4 weeks.
Oh, was he a stray?
No, he was abandoned. We've got him from a rescue center.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So Greg, touching on Greg's beer reviews, another one of the original guys. Carpenter like me. He was a cabinet maker, wasn't he?
I thought he was a bike mechanic.
Liked his motorbikes as well.
Yeah.
Do you know what happened? You know, like I know they said he had a fall. Does anybody have any kind of like follow-up information? How did he fall? Did he fall off his motorbike, or?
That's what I'm wondering, if he had a car accident or something.
Something, yeah. It's really, wow, it's horrible, isn't it, when you think about it, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how old he was, but
he kept himself to himself, didn't he? I never had any interaction with him.
Yeah, I never saw him comment on any other BeerTubers videos, but he was posting like every day, probably twice a day, because I remember he was up to like 5,000 reviews at one point. Yeah, that's something I noticed about your channel. Like, you know, I number all my videos, like Darwin numbers his. You don't number your episodes, so you don't know which episode number you're on.
It's like I just leave it, and I think that's the like. Can I leave you into an exclusive?
Sure.
I give you a whole channel exclusive now. I only know I'm going to get to 10,000 when I look at Social Blade.
Uh-huh.
When I get to 10,000, I'm going to change the channel up. I'm going to change. I think this form factor of daily beer reviews has to stop. I think what I've realized is that I need to get out there. I need to get the microphone in people's faces. I need to like talk to people and bar owners, have a look at old pubs. We got some pubs here 600-700 years old. That's like 5 miles away from me. Get down, have a look at that. You know, get to towns and cities around the UK, branch out into France, Belgium, Germany, and then get my way over to New York. I need to go and see America. I need to see New York. I need to pop over a couple of hours drive down to Florida there. And then
a couple hours, or like a couple days.
Is it? Oh, blimey.
Yeah, it's about from my parents' house to here is, it's probably about 1,500 miles. In fact, I could Google it.
So you have to fly there? You have to fly back and forth?
Yeah, it's about a 2.5-3 hour flight.
Wow. That's like me flying to Spain.
Really? Yeah.
Like to the north coast of Africa. That's incredible. Is America really that big? It's really like, it's so big. Like,
yeah, I mean, we're like 4 time zones.
Wow.
Yeah, you have the East time zone, Central, Mountain, and Pacific time zone.
It's impossible, isn't it, for one person, one man to run a big country like that? Do you think they should have like more people in charge in different states, maybe like
Well,
quarter.
that's what we've been talking about is like more like decentralization, you know? Let me see if I can show this without. All right, here we go. I'm gonna try to show this without revealing my address or my parents' address.
Yeah.
So, this is my parents' address. Here's my address. I'm sorry, I just it's an
So
18-hour drive,
18-hour.
1,200 miles.
Have you ever
Well,
thought about it?
driving?
Yeah, and then you could like pop off to breweries along the way. You could pop off to pubs. You could like eat a burger at like a well-known burger
Oh yeah, I
place.
mean it would take like 2 or 3 days, maybe more.
You could do
Like,
like
I'm
a whole
actually
vlog driving up the coast.
well,
Sleep in the car somewhere.
I have to get a new car because I'm looking into getting a minivan. Because like I have a Honda Civic, which is, you know, it's a regular sedan. It's fairly close to the ground. And like I'm actually getting like back pain from
Yeah.
like, you know, because like I don't have like tons of room. Like I want a like a SUV or a minivan so I can sit like in the chair I'm in now, like so my feet are like at a 90-degree angle. But like 'cause when I'm sitting in my car, it's like I'm in a go-kart, you know?
Oh yeah, yeah. Yeah. I drive my car like it's a go-kart.
Yeah.
I drove it so fast the other day that the oil cap come off, and I lost the oil cap. I lost all my oil. I had
How'd
to
that
put a
happen?
bag in the top of the oil and tape it down with tape. And it's been like that for 2 weeks because I can't find the oil cap. But
The
yeah,
oil or the gas cap?
the oil cap blew off. I hit it. I hit probably
Inside the engine?
6,000 revs in each gear, and the car was nearly like lifting off the ground.
What kind of car do you drive?
A Fiat Punto.
Okay.
But it's like the Ferrari version. Like it was like Ferrari were allowed to play around with it. You know, Fiat owned Ferrari.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Those Fiats, they're like these tiny little, those are just like a 2-seater.
But yeah, no, it's four-seater, but it's like a rocket, and it's a diesel as well. It's an absolute rocket ship.
Oh, yeah, something I wanted to ask you about, some technical. Let me bring your channel back up here.
Of course, let's get into this now because it is 8 o'clock. Let's get into back into seriousness. Yeah.
How do you make your thumbnails? You have like the giant, like you usually just post like a picture of the beer. It's funny because you actually kind of defy the algorithm because every like influencer that I've seen, they always say like for YouTube, you should like the best thumbnails are faces.
No.
Like and yours are mostly like text with a picture of the beer, but I think it's like because like in your thumbnail, you don't even have like like in mine, at least I have like a cartoon logo of me.
No.
Let me bring up my channel. And yours is just text, but you're defying the algorithm.
Because it's not about me. It's not about me. I think the reason why it's purely about the beer. I'm just a man talking about the beer. I might as well be AI. I'm the man. I'm the man. I disappear into the background. I've always got the beer up to the screen. It's all about the liquid in the glass, and I think that has been my secret all along. Really, is title, promote the beer, because you don't get to see people's faces on Untapped, do you? You don't get to see like Untapped is not about people's faces; it's about the beer in there.
Yeah.
But I've tried to bring the Untapped. Well, we were doing it before Untapped. Our channels are older than Untapped, aren't they?
Yeah, we started before Untapped because Untapped didn't start till 2010. I started in 2008. You started in 2009.
So I have that many beers on the channel now, nearly 10,000, as you mentioned. The people use it as an encyclopedia. So they buy a beer in the supermarket. They'll check the beer in the supermarket if I reviewed it, and they'll buy the beer and then take it home and they have a drink along with me. Not live, of course, but they watch my review and they drink along with the review. So it's always been just about the beer. It's never been about me as a personality.
Yeah. I think to get subscribers and to like keep them around is like they have to like you know?
Yeah.
Like you gotta have like a good quality setup, you know? I mean, like you have like your whole like man cave kind of thing. Like I have this. I don't know what's going on with mine because like I'm still
I
getting
really like.
like less than 100 views per video. You know, and I think like my channel is better now than it's ever been. Like the production quality and like my knowledge and everything. And I'm still only getting like a couple dozen views per video. Like you got to tell me what's your secret, you know? Like is it just SEO or what? Here, let me bring up like your most recent video.
How are we doing there?
So I noticed like you have like you have like all these like keywords down here.
Yeah, so I copy and paste them.
Uh-huh.
And
Do you
stick them into my tags.
Like where do you get the keywords from?
I write them out manually.
Okay. Like I thought like you were asking a you know, like a analytics or something like that.
Right. Here's a question for you, Chad, and I'm going to leave you and your subscribers with the answer to this now.
Mm-hmm.
What is YouTube to you? Is YouTube a video platform or a search engine?
It's kind of both, you know. I think YouTube's like the #2 search engine
in the world.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So for me, it's a search engine. So every single one of those things, if you ever go back to that like thing with all the keywords, basically people come on my channel like this. They're saying to me, "I don't know how I found you," and that's the first paragraph they said. "I don't know how I found you, but I like this stout. I like this port."
Right. Right.
It's a video platform, but it's also a search engine. So if you go into Google and you put beer review into Google, or if you go into Google and put real ale or craft, I'm generally near the.
Well, I was gonna let me bring up
the Google search.
Here is this is Microsoft Edge, which I never use.
Okay.
So give me a search term. Let's see if it comes up.
Put video beer review.
Video beer reviews. Isn't that that's craft beer channel?
Yeah. Am I anywhere? Yeah, real beer. Bang. Here we are, just below that.
Is this that's craft beer or that's craft beer? Oh yeah, so you come up right there, real craft beer. Wow, and then top 20. Remember we were just talking about this offline from
yeah.
What were they called? Agile H or
yeah.
Better Beer Authority. Yeah, he did top 20 beer tubers. What year was this?
Oh, I was so. I mean, you've already got the video for this, haven't you? We talked about this extensively, so you'll probably add this to your video, wouldn't you? But I was gutted by this. I never made the top 20. I was heartbroken, absolutely heartbroken.
Beer Geek Nation, Master of Hoppets, Ryan Rashun, me, Greg's Beer Reviews. It's funny because let's see how many of these people are still. Let me zoom in here so you can see. Let's see how many of these channels are still around. All right, Beer Geek Nation gone. Nope. Master of Hoppets, he's still around. Stumpy Joe Jr. That's Ryan. He doesn't make videos. Me, I still make. Greg, up until recently, still made videos.
Yeah.
Nano Symbiosis, no video. That's video. That's Mark, Bike Beer Barbecue.
You know, he had his channel taken off him by YouTube.
Yeah, I heard it was like for copyright because he would always use music at the beginning and end of the videos. That was before you could just like license music, you know. Snobby Beer, he's gone. I'm so fat. Nope. Proper. Nope. Craig Tube. I think he went to Rumble. He was more of a home brewer than anyway.
Yeah, he was big back in the day, wasn't he, Craig Tube?
Yeah. Ronald that's a Louisiana Beer. He's still around.
He's still around. How's he doing?
Yeah. He's one of the when I used to do the top 10 beer tubers of the month, he was always like number 5 or so.
Yeah.
He's still pretty big. Grand Old Hoppery, he's gone. JJ Root, that was my friend Jay. He's gone.
Yeah.
Yurichi Tuba, he's gone. Albino Rhino, he's still around.
Yeah.
He's Canadian. Foaming Head. It's funny, I just texted him for the first time in like 10 years the other day. He doesn't make videos anymore. Beer Betty's. No. Tantrum 777. Nope, he's gone. JJ. That's Joe D. I don't know if
Joe
he.
D.
Yeah. He
Wow.
basically just does these live shows. Like Mark from Bike, you can see him right there in the thumbnail.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's he's one of the regulars on the show, and it's just so like Joe D doesn't really do beer reviews anymore. He just does live streams, and it
Cool.
just
If he did beer reviews every day from the start, he would be like Will Smith now, wouldn't he? You know, be huge, huge.
he's still getting a couple hundred views per video. That's pretty good.
Yeah,
It's
but he
better
was
than
doing thousands with his beer reviews. Absolute thousands, wasn't he?
yeah. He says he has 1.3 thousand videos.
Yeah.
He has about double the
8,000.
subscribers that I had. Let's see, all-time views.
3 million.
3.3 million.
That's just, but look when the channel started, the 1st of August 2006.
Yeah.
And the point is here, he was doing beer reviews like in 2008. His channel was massive. If you put in beer review back then, it was all him. And I suppose he's the real inspiration as to why I started my whole channel was JJ Daven. Joe D.
Yeah, you know what's funny is I was just looking at that list of the almost every channel on here, I think, is American except for Peter, the Master of Hoppets.
Yeah.
Oh, and Albino Rhino is Canadian, and Craig
So
Tooth is Canadian.
maybe he was a little bit lazy, maybe, or you know.
Yeah, I think this might have been made. Was this made before Social Blade was a thing?
Probably, yeah. Probably.
Beer Betties. Let's see. Do they still make videos? Let's
They
see.
lost accounts. They wanted to, but they got locked out of their accounts and they forgot the password.
Last video was 10 years ago.
Yeah.
I always liked it when it's very rare that women are on BeerTube, and it's even rarer that a woman would have her own channel because, like, you know, my girlfriend Christina is on this channel a lot. I remember your wife Mel used to have her own channel, and she just stopped doing it. That was a long time ago too.
A long time ago. Yeah. The buzz of beer was massive back then, wasn't it? I think everybody was looking.
Does she ever appear on your videos?
She'll pop in when I do the live stream every now and again, wave, and then she'll go. She likes the PlayStation 5. She PlayStations every single day. PlayStation.
Is she on like Twitch or something?
No, she just plays games privately to herself. Yeah.
Do your daughters, are they old enough to drink now?
They do drink. They're not old enough to, but they do.
Okay.
They drink cider.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, cider's easy to drink.
Yeah.
How do you think your life would be different if you had boys instead of girls?
I'd be playing football. I'd be at the football pitch, and I just karate with my daughter. And lots of, my daughter, Melon, my middle daughter, went to watch Taylor Swift in Canada 2 days ago.
Oh yeah, how much were those tickets?
I don't know. They were in the hundreds, but they paid for our savings and whatnot. But I'm gonna have to make a move very, very soon, Chad. So,
a bowel movement?
No. I've got a dash. I've got to go and just tie loose ends. But if there's anything else you wanted to ask me before,
quick question. So, like the summer solstice, I think is tomorrow, the longest day of the year. Yeah. What time does the sun set there? Like 10 o'clock?
It's still light, so it's setting. It goes behind the houses here about 8:15. It sets about 10 o'clock. It gets dark about 10:30.
Wow. Yeah, I think that because I remember that when I used to live in New York, because like the closer you get to the poles, the longer or shorter the days are, or just like the more extreme. Yeah. Like in the winter, the sun would set at like 5 o'clock, and in the summer it doesn't set till like 8:30, something like that. Kind of in Florida, it's kind of like temperate. It's kind of basically the same. Well, not the same, but it's basically from like in the winter it's like 6 o'clock, and in the summer it's like 8 o'clock or so.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice.
So you're near the equator then?
Well, a lot more closer than New York is, but I mean, it's still a pretty long way to the actual equator.
Okay, I see.
I've been below the equator when I was in the Navy, though.
Down Columbia way down there.
Yeah. Anyway, this was fun. I will, and then after this, I'll put our abbreviated podcast from last week at the end, like kind of like as bonus material. Like we were watching, basically, kind of like we were watching old videos of ourselves from like 10,
Yeah.
15 years ago.
Yeah.
That was fun. So yeah, thanks for doing the podcast, and I'll see you around.
It's been really lovely doing this again, Chad. It's just it's like an old blast from the past, isn't it? You know.
Yeah. Well,
Thank you.
don't hang up after we end. I wanted to so I'll say bye and cheers from now. Sorry, I'm all out of beer. Yeah. I think you are too.
I am. Yes, I'm all drunk up. Yeah.
All right, I'll put links to all your stuff in the description. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you around.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yep. Hey, welcome to an episode of Chad's Beer Podcast. I'm talking to Simon from Real Ale Guide. What's going on, man?
Hello, how you doing, Chad? My old friend, how you doing?
Good. We just reviewed Old Speckled Hen for my Tuesday night beer school. Although I think this podcast will actually drop before the review, so we should keep that a secret. No spoilers. You know, we can't tell the viewers what we thought of it.
Oh no, absolutely. So what have you been drinking, Chad? What's been are you still drinking lots of Nipa, or are you bored of it now like everybody else?
Yeah. I mean, there's no shortage of hazy IPAs around here.
Yeah.
But I mean, like you can see, I finally got like this. I should have got this years ago. This is a little mini beer fridge with a clear door.
Oh, it's lovely.
And I get most of my beer online now because I was like the beer museum down the road. It's like I was surprised. Well, I should say I'm not surprised that they had this, because I think you were telling me off camera that they stopped distributing this.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like they never throw anything out. Like they have like beers in there that says 2016 or 2012 on them. You know?
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. You want to keep hold of one can of that, because they have discontinued it.
Although I will say that actually, do you ever have this beer, Founders CBS?
Canadian breakfast stout.
Yeah, like this is their most recent one from like last Christmas, but
yeah,
this is like they used to only bottle that like once every 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
And like the last time they bottled it in the big like 750 ml bottle, or it was like 2017 or 2015.
Yeah.
And it's still sitting on the shelf at the same price that they were selling it in 2015 or 2017.
Really?
Yeah.
So that is fine. So how much would that be?
It's about $25, which actually by today's standards, I mean, I really don't like to pay that much for one bottle, although at least you get like a full 750 ml, you know? And it's like, that's a strong beer. It's like 10 something ABV, almost 11.
Yeah. So Chad, how is the evolvement of Chad's beer reviews? We haven't done anything together for a few years. How is your continued enthusiasm for beer going? And yeah, just fill me in with what you've been up to.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm definitely a lot more knowledgeable now than like in the early days. Like, you know, I got BJCP and Cicerone certified.
Yeah.
And you know, I got like my man cave here, and my, you know, I got my beer books, you know.
Yeah.
And I keep this, I got this I don't know what you call this board, but it's like these numbers that you can pull in and pull out, you know. So like every time I shoot, I always try to update the subscriber count.
Yeah. But while you're talking about this very subject, I think it's really important we should talk about this. So the history of beer tubing probably goes back about 16 years, probably to you at the beginning of it all. But isn't it funny how it's evolved, where now, in present day beer tubing 2024, we all seem to have these kind of lovely backdrops, whereas when we first started reviewing beer on YouTube, like you were on your couch in Albany in New York.
Yeah.
We had no real beer backdrops, did we? And now we have these like elaborate bars, and you've got your man cave. And do you think what's been your biggest kind of change that you've seen over the last 14 years of beer tubing?
A lot of people that were there in the early days are long gone. Yeah, I'm probably like the most senior beer tuber that's still around. Yeah, because I started in 2008.
Yeah.
And like, I mean, the only other person you could probably say is L Harlock, but or Lee Russell, or I mean, he keeps changing his channel name. The dude in Canada.
Yeah.
Uh, but I wouldn't really consider him a beer tuber because his channel is like video games and movie reviews and just bullshitting around, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Whereas
Yeah.
like you and I are actual beer tubers because like our channel is 99% beer, you know?
Yes. Yes. I
So
would
and
say
like
so.
there was a few other channels before me. So it's funny. I was just talking with Christina, my girlfriend, about this last night. But I was like, you know, when I started doing this show, like, because I went on YouTube and like there was hardly anybody else doing beer reviews, and I was like, well, if I start doing it now and I keep at it, you know,
Yeah.
over a while, I'll build up an audience, you know. And yeah, I mean, I've taken I've taken like at least a year and a half off at one point, like in between 2015 and 2016.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you're the only one, as far as I can tell. By the way, I just wanted to show the viewers your channel in case this is your first time seeing Simon. I mean, you go by Real Ale Craft Beer now, but like when you first started, it was the Real Ale Guide, which
Yeah.
to me that's like always your real name. So you're at it says you have 73.6 thousand subscribers. You're coming up on 10,000 videos.
Yes. And I'm
Let's
really
see.
proud. I'm trying to find a really special beer to do 10,000.
Let's see, your most popular, most viewed beer is Krupp's the Sub Compact Unboxing. Wow. That's 349,000 views.
Yeah. So that was a beer machine. Very popular in the UK over the last 5 years. I always like to think that I can stay ahead of the game. So if there was something to be evolved, if I found a gap, I would jump into the gap head first. So that beer machine, I had my YouTube monthly earnings come through, and back then I probably spent about 50% of my earnings on that machine. And it was a big gamble, but it paid off straight away. People were really interested because you buy these like 2-liter subs of beer and they load in and they pour like pub draft beer, but you only get 2 liters, so you're only drinking like 2 or 3 pints. Yeah. Since then, I've moved up. Let me move my. I'll be very quick, and then you can go back to the videos. But I've now moved up to the big boys. I've got a blade and a perfect draft with. I should move my tape measure and screws and everything else out here. But yeah, so I got this 8-liter beer machine, and I got this 6-liter beer machine. One from Philips, one from Heineken themselves. But Heineken, funnily enough, Heineken made the Krups, which you were just looking at then.
Does that word mean something?
Krups?
Yeah.
It's a coffee. It's the name of it's like a coffee. You know the coffee dispensers? Do you get the Krups coffee dispensers in America?
Oh, like the little cups, like this big. We just put like the one. Yeah. Yeah, they're called K-cups. Yeah. It's Keurig is the name of the company over here.
Yeah, it's called Krups over here. So they made a coffee machine and then they made a beer machine.
That's interesting. And it's funny that your second most popular review is an Australian lager, Castlemaine Quadruple X Gold.
4X Gold.
How was it? Do you remember?
It was okay. It was okay. It was more so I was being sent beer by a man called Mick in Australia, and he was sending me these wonderful beers, and they were and he sent them in the tube, and they were like double IPAs at 10% and 12%. And I sent him I bought that for a laugh. I bought that 4X for a laugh, and I said, Mick, I said, I've just reviewed the finest Australian beer. You know, it's like it's considered water in Australia. I said I've done a 4X, and he sent me a message back. Hold the wheel, he said. Hold the wheel. I can't believe you reviewed 4X. I'm sending you all this amazing Australian beer and you're drinking that rubbish.
I'm starting to see a pattern here. Like your number 2 and number 3 beers both have X's in the name. So
maybe
if people see the X and they think porn, like they're just typing in XXX or something.
Yeah. It's all like from Bangladesh and stuff. The views is all like Bangladesh,
is it?
India. Yeah, very funny.
How's your old speckled hen?
It's going down pretty well. I'm just about to open up a Weizenbier, ABK Weizenbier.
Now, is that an English or German brewery?
German, from Bayerisch in Germany.
I never heard of them, but I mean, I love a good wheat beer.
I'll show you the sediment now. Pour this, and the sediment in the bottles is unbelievable. It's like big lumps. It's like tires and shopping trolleys.
Yeah, speaking of wheat beers, I saw you and Paul and Michelle from Rate My Beer. You guys did that pineapple Weizenbach.
Oh yeah, I have one here. It was fantastic.
Yeah, it's a crazy label. I love labels like that.
From Hackney Church in London. Yeah, it was absolutely fantastic. Really good collaboration, that one. So yeah, that's another thing that I started to do was collaborations with breweries. I think we did. Can you remember Barry Island IPA?
Yeah, from the early days. Yeah, so I think I asked Paul and Michelle about this. I never asked you about this. I'm like, so how do these like collab things work? Like, do the breweries call you and be like, do you want to do a beer with us, or do you call them, or
mainly,
how's it work?
So mainly the brewers contact me. They can see that we get quite a few views on all of the social media now, the YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and they're like, this guy can give us some really good exposure. So it started off, I'm looking up all my collabs up here. It started off with shall I show let me show your viewers my collaborations while I'm talking. It might be a bit wavy cam, but can you see any of that up there?
Oh yeah.
So they're all my collaboration beers. All the way along. I've been to Norway and Poland and all over the place. Barry Island, the original bottles of Barry Island on the end there.
I see all the crows on the wall, or turkeys, or whatever.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
What is that room? Was that like a pool house or like a tool shed that you made into a bar, or did you build that specifically to be?
This was the garden. So I put a glass roof on and some doors, and this was my garden. So that was I'm not sure if you watched some of the original videos. That's what I sat outside on the table and chairs, just against that wall there on a summer's day.
I remember there was a video where like an actual crow landed on your head, and somehow you got it on camera.
This is where I was standing in that video.
Okay, so you built that room from the ground up, huh?
From the ground up with my bare hands. Yeah. Can you see the sediment in there?
Yeah, it's really hazy.
Literal lumps and chunks floating around. Yeah. So I built this room from the ground up. Some of these kitchen units were in the actual kitchen. I moved them out here. And yeah, that's put an oak, a nice kind of oak. This is American as well. It's American oak.
Really?
I don't know how it got to the UK, but I found it in a wood yard. The guy was like, "Give me 80 quid and you can have it. It's American oak." I was like, "Okay." So I made a bar out of it.
How do you know he was being honest though? I mean, he could have just been saying that.
Maybe, yeah.
That's what you used to do before you became a beer tuber. You were a carpenter or a contractor, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I do miss it every now and again. I do miss the tools. So if I miss the tools, I generally start a job here. I'll start work doing stuff around the house, maybe in the garden and whatnot.
Well, what I was going to say is I think it must be a difference between English and American culture, because like no matter, I mean, well, I have gotten free beer from breweries like to review on the show, but I've never had a brewery offer to like do a collab brew with me, like Chad's whatever beer. Like the only way to do something even remotely like that is like if you win like a home brewing competition that a brewery sponsors, and then like they'll take your recipe and then brew it on a big system.
Yeah, yeah.
But
If you had a possibility to reach out to a brewery and say, hey, I could possibly get you a few hundred views. I could probably get, showing off your brewery. You might get a few sales in return. People might buy the beer. That's how it kind of works. A bit like you scratch my back and I scratch yours type of thing. That's how it.
I'm not that big of an influencer though. I only have 4,000 followers on YouTube compared to your like almost 80,000.
But this is my follow-up question. Did you ever foresee a situation where one of us was going to do really, really well? Because I had my doubts.
Well, I always thought Chris from Beer Geek Nation would be like where you are now, because like he kind of like reset BeerTube, because like he started getting like mega following, huge views, because like he was the first person to like really, I don't want to say take it seriously, because like some, a lot of I always took it seriously, but like he was taking it seriously as far as like making like an actual like video, because he had like animation, and like his views or his videos were like fairly breezy. They were fairly short too. Like you just like got right through it. It wasn't like bullshitting around.
Yeah.
And I've kind of tried to like follow that. I don't want to say formula, but like I'm kind of like that now. Like when I'm doing beer reviews by myself, I'm showing like a close up of as I'm pouring the beer, and then go like making sure that I'm commenting on like the big five, aroma, appearance, flavor, mouthfeel, and overall. And plus getting certified for me really helped, because I started tasting stuff that I wouldn't have tasted otherwise. Or if I go back and watch my old videos, like I'll say like, oh man, this tastes like lemon lollipop, or this tastes like butterscotch, or this tastes like cardboard. And I didn't realize I was tasting diacetyl or oxidation or like DM, all those flaws,
That's the beauty in it though, I think. That's the beauty in it. And I think that's why like people watch for that cardboard, people watch for that like maybe like burnt tobacco smoke, or because that's what your brain is telling you type of thing. That's what it's a funny, wouldn't it? But going back to Chris Dals very quickly, I think, would I be right in saying that he was the first person, like you said, he took it seriously? Was he the first person to actually have a studio, or would you say that was Agile H Productions?
Oh yeah, I forgot about them. Yeah, well, that was his handle, but the actual, what was the show? Better Beer Authority.
Yes, that was it. Yeah.
He scrubbed his channel. He like got rid of like almost all those videos.
It's unbelievable, isn't it?
It's funny. All right, I just brought up your channel again, and I sorted by oldest. And Old Speckled Hen was like your 4th or 5th review here.
And I would have loved it back then. I would absolutely, because again, the house is, oh my god, look at this.
Look how you shot it in like 4x3. You were like the first person I knew that like, you took BeerTube seriously too, because I remember you got like a 4K camera like when they first came out.
Yes.
You know? And like you were uploading in like 4K.
That was always
what's with that shirt?
Pink, yeah.
Yeah.
Perhaps something my wife bought me.
Were you ever a golfer?
No, never. I play snooker. Do you have snooker in America?
Yeah, it's like pool or like billiards, right?
No, it's on a 6'6" table by 3 foot wide. Big.
And like it doesn't have like pockets like pool though, right? I don't know how to play the game, but I've seen it.
Yeah, I'm joining the league. I'm joining in League 2 in September, which I'm quite nervous about, because there's some really good players. But I just need to practice. It's practice,
Yeah.
Yeah. But so beers that this is like a question for question type of thing. This isn't it. Only because I know you as a mate. more than a beer tuber, I would say. But what was the beer that changed that made Chad 9976 Chad's beer reviews come about? What was the beer that you tried? You were like, oh, this is fantastic.
You know, it's funny. I think it was like some Magic Hat IPA. I can't remember like the exact beer, but I just remember like, you know, I used to be in the Navy and I had my parents and my brother come down and visit me. I think like around, so I was in Virginia, they're in New York, you know.
Yeah.
And they came to visit me, I think 2006 or 7, somewhere around there. And I just asked my brother, I said, I'm gonna go to the store. I'm like, you like, what beer do you like? He said, oh, just get Magic Hat. And I had never heard of it.
Yeah.
And he's like, it's kind of like Sam Adams, you know, or Saranac, one of those. I'm like, okay. So I get it. I just remember like my parents being here and like I didn't really know much about beer back then.
Yeah.
I just saw one that said India Pale Ale, and I was like, that's a weird name. And I mean, it had a cool label. I can't remember which one it was off the top of my head, but I just remember like most people when they first try IPA, like they're really put off because it's so bitter, you know?
Yeah.
Like this is old school IPAs when they actually were bitter.
Yeah.
Now they're actually not that bitter. Like everything's hazy and like creamy, you know? I just remember being like, wow, this is really good. And then like trying like, you know, they had like a brown ale and probably just like an American pale ale in there or whatever. So yeah, I think like it was something like, I can't remember any one specific beer. Although, I mean, the first beer review I ever did in this channel was Newcastle Brown Ale.
Yes.
Because I also remember having that on tap. And this is going back to like, again, like 2006, 7, something like that.
Yeah.
When I think they were their own company. And then didn't they sell it to Heineken?
Heineken got it now. Yeah.
Yeah. Although it's actually made in America by Lagunitas now. Did you know that?
I wonder how good it is, though. I wonder if it's a better beer. But going back to Magic Hat, are they still a thing?
Yeah, they're still around, but we don't get them in Florida.
Yeah. What about that small brewery that you sent me some of the beer when you were living in? Where were you living in outside of New York?
In Albany.
Albany, yeah.
Yeah.
It was a brewery. And it was you went to see him and you recorded like, oh, Simon's tried your beer. You sent me, it was like a smallish brewery in Albany. You sent me one of their beers and he was like over the moon. He was over the
Southern
moon.
Tier?
Not Southern Tier, no. Southern Tier was fantastic. Not Southern Tier. Oh, it was this very small brewery.
I know. I have to go back and like.
Actually,
hang on a sec. Maybe we can find out. We'll do this together. So, like, if I go on your channel and I do a search, if I do a search for Chad's, maybe that'll. Oh, here's where you talk with me. Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, we did. I remember we did that Fuller's ESB review.
Oh, what was the name of that?
It must have been one of because this is you unboxing a video from me.
Right. So show the beers and then you'll find the beer. I'm pretty sure I think you sent me the one box. Oh
yeah, I remember that NOS energy drink.
Yeah.
Can you guys get that there now?
No, we don't know. Is it big?
Oh, you know what it probably was? I bet it was Brown's. Because Brown's is still around too. I must have sent them. I was probably the Whiskey Barrel Porter. Was that it?
Do you know off the top of my head? Maybe, but hopefully we can see it now. A Snickers bar.
Here, I'll speed it up a little.
Lemonade. Look how.
I sent you a bunch of candy: Sour Patch Kids, Kit
Kats.
You know, those are huge videos. Like if you do a video called like English people try American candy or vice versa, those tend to get like a ton of views.
Oh, I had that. Oh, what's that? Sloppy Joe's.
There's a 6-point Bengali Tiger.
Yeah.
You know what's funny? You and we've done like 3 or 4 reviews of 6-point beers, and I think me and Mel did 1 or 2.
Yes.
6-point. What happened with her channel? She used to have her own channel, Mrs. Real Ale Guide. She just stopped doing it.
She does a lot of gaming these days. Isn't it a bit? What's that? What was that?
Oh yeah, Willover's. It was like some honey, wildflower honey wheat, I think.
Yeah.
So I played everything. This is at 2x speed. It's funny, like when I watch most YouTube videos, I watch them at 2x speed because I don't have the patience. So there you go. I sent you 𝑪𝒉𝒂𝒅'𝒛. Wow.
Yeah.
I know. This is like looking back on like a high school yearbook, you know?
You can tell though that I'm still a carpenter back then because I'm a bit bigger. I'm used to carrying wood and heavy stuff.
She just had Anchor Christmas.
But like that video's done really well.
I don't remember sending you that.
Yeah.
Wow.
That did really well.
You can get Bud Light there though, right?
Not like that.
How old are your kids now?
One's going to be 17 in a couple of weeks, and the youngest one's going to be. It might be this one. Let's have a look at this bit. Oh, that's your homebrew.
Yeah, it must have been a homebrew.
One's 13, going on 14. And I'm going to be a granddad with my oldest daughter in November.
Oh.
Granddad Simon.
So there's Southern Tier Chocolate, which
that was fantastic.
Is one of my all-time favorite beers. I don't know if they still make it. They don't distribute it to Florida.
Here it is.
Is that the pumpkin one? Yeah, there's Pumpkin. That's still one of my favorite beers. I feel bad. Anybody listening to this on the audio podcast has like no idea what we're talking about.
I really want to get to this beer. Because it was like a small, like Wayne's or something. It was like someone's name.
I think it must have been Brown's IPA. Or I'm going to find like, there must be another unboxing video.
Was that it? Yeah.
Young's Double Chocolate Stout. Remember, I sent you that because the canned version we get in the US is different than the version that you get over there.
Yeah. Probably.
Southern Tier 2X IPA.
It was like a barrel-aged beer. Maybe
is this it? Keegan Ale's Mother's Milk Stout. I think that's it.
That's the one. Keegan Ale's. Yes. Are they still around, Keegan Ale's?
I think so, but I mean, they don't distribute to Florida because, you know, I've been in Florida for, let's see, I moved here in 2015, so almost 9 years.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. The first 850 reviews were in New York, and everything after that has been in Florida. So basically, I'm kind of like half and half at this point. Like half the show was in New York, half the show was in Florida. Remember, whenever you would open the bottle, you would have this look on your face like you were disappointed.
Yeah.
Did you ever see? It was my review of one of those. I'm gonna have to go to
Keegan Ale. Keegan Ales. They were a great company, Chad.
What was that one that did carbon neutral? You know what I'm talking about? All right, let me type that.
Carbon
neutral.
N-E.
Adnams, that's it. So there was a video where I tried to do like a spoof of you. Do you remember that one? Adnams Lighthouse Ale.
Oh, I remember. Yes.
Are they still around?
Adnams, yeah, they put out a bit of a profit warning back then, but remember your mate there, not the one before.
Henry,
yeah. Do you still hear from Henry?
Yeah, we email, but I don't have his phone number anymore.
Ah, right, okay. Oh, that one where you're in your trousers.
Let me see if I can turn the sound on here. I forget how to do this. Let's see.
Why you do that?
When I share the screen, it doesn't share the audio. Oh, here it is. Also share tab audio. Let's see if this works.
Quite black. Not lefties.
Oops.
Oh, yeah.
Can you hear this?
Yeah, I can hear it.
Oh.
Have I lost you? Is it me with the Wi-Fi? Oh, I'm back. I think.
See, I only tried to do the accent for like 5 seconds there, and I was just like, I'm not going to talk like that the whole show. I'm not an actor. And I was wearing a rugby shirt.
Yeah.
Are you still a big rugby fan?
Yes, Wales in the rugby. We got the Euros kicking off tomorrow night as well, the football. So there's probably something going on with that.
Speaking of football, like I'm a big Orlando City, because we have MLS, Major League Soccer here.
Yeah.
We have our own team, Orlando City. They went to like the semifinals or the quarterfinals last
Yeah.
year. They're
Yeah.
doing like they're kind of average this year, which it makes no sense because like they didn't really lose any players. So I don't know what's going on. And last night there was a USA versus Brazil. I don't know if it was an Olympic qualifier or just like a
Right.
friendly. Or the USA actually tied Brazil 1-1. I was surprised.
Fantastic. So do you have any English or British players in Orlando City?
No, they're mostly South American, and we have a couple. There's a guy from Sweden and a guy from Iceland on
Oh,
the team.
cool.
Yeah,
Very
Peter
cool.
he looks just like Peter, Master Hoppets.
So I want to talk about Southern Tier. How are they doing? I haven't seen or heard of Southern Tier for a number of years, but their beers are tremendous. Is the quality still the same?
Yeah, they've kind of like really leaned into the pastry stout thing. In fact, I think at this point, and this like we could do like a whole podcast on this. Like, at what point is like a pastry stout like more than like or not no longer beer? Because like they have like all these Girl Scout cookie flavor beers, like Reese's Pieces
Yeah.
beers.
Yeah.
Because like all they're doing is just making a stout, and then they throw like chocolate and caramel and butterscotch and
Yeah.
mint and all these crazy ingredients in there now. And like Southern Tier was kind of like the progenitors of the pastry stouts, like the one we just saw, the chocolate.
Exactly.
Like to me, that was like an awesome, like actual imperial stout plus the
Yeah.
chocolate.
Yeah.
But like, actually, I sort of let me see. I'm not. All right, so this is kind of an example of like a modern pastry stout. This is from Hop and Frog. They're out of
Oh, right.
Ohio.
Yeah.
It's called Brothers Keeper Dirty Chai Baltic Style Porter.
All right.
So
Okay.
it's like a port, and it's 9.2 ABV.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any chocolate in this one, but it's just chai spice, which is like everything. It's like cinnamon, cardamom, ginger.
That'll be nice. That'll be pretty nice. And that, in my experience, and I'm sure you'll let me know when you review it. That'll have a high level of carbonation in it. Whenever I try a beer with a lot of spices in it, it's always highly carbonated, and the head always dissipates very quickly.
Yeah. Have you ever seen that show or the movie What We Do in the Shadows? It's like with vampires, and it's kind of like The Office with vampires. And
I've seen it.
you have? Okay,
Yeah.
so I got this. There's a beer that they made based on the show or the movie. It's called What We Brew in the Shadows. New Zealand style Pilsner.
Fantastic. Yeah.
My girlfriend loves this show. We just started watching it, so maybe we'll review this tonight or tomorrow.
Yeah. So just to interrupt the podcast a little bit, did you want to do a part 2 of this? Because I'm gonna have
to take off.
Unfortunately, I'm gonna have to. It's 9 o'clock. I'm gonna have to take off, but I'd love to do a part 2 unless you got everything that you need from me.
I feel like we're just getting warmed up, so we definitely have to come back.
Yeah, so maybe we can do like early next week or something. Maybe you could like do part 1, part 2. So maybe you could do like an outro now for the finish.
Somebody brewed it. Chad just reviewed it. Thanks for watching Chad's beer review. Trust me, the next episode will be a lot better.